Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into something really special, one of the world's most powerful philosophical texts, the Dhammapada. We're going to explore how its ancient wisdom is actually an incredibly practical guide for our very modern lives.
Does this sound familiar? That constant feeling of being overwhelmed, the stress, the endless arguments we see everywhere? You know, in a world that just seems to get more complicated every single day, it is so easy to feel completely lost. But what if I told you that a guide to navigating these exact feelings was written down over 2,000 years ago? Yeah, I know, it sounds a little unlikely, but this ancient text holds some seriously powerful solutions for the problems we're facing right now.
So, let's get right into it. What exactly is this source of ancient wisdom?
The Dhammapada is a core text in Buddhism. You can think of it as a collection of sayings that come straight from the Buddha himself, preserved in the ancient Pali language. It's like a direct line to some of the most foundational spiritual insights in history.
And we're not just talking about a few proverbs here. This is a really comprehensive collection of 423 distinct verses. Each one is like a concentrated drop of wisdom, covering everything you can imagine, from anger to mindfulness. And this right here gets to the heart of why the Dhammapada has stuck around for so long. Its real power is its simplicity. You don't need to be a Buddhist to get it. The verses are so direct, and they speak to these universal human experiences that we all share, like love and loss, and that search for peace.
So we've kind of boiled down its vast wisdom into 5 core teachings. Let's look at these as 5 actionable keys that you can use to unlock a more peaceful life. Starting, well, right now.
Let's start with this foundational idea. This is maybe the most famous verse in the entire text, and it's our first key. It's a really radical statement about the power that we hold inside our own minds.
So what this means, in essence, is that your internal state creates your external reality. Think about it. The story you tell yourself about your life, well, that becomes your life. The anxiety you feel scrolling through a perfectly curated social media feed, that starts to feel like your actual self-worth. If your mind is filled with negativity, your world becomes a pretty painful place. But if you actively cultivate thoughts of wisdom and peace, then peace naturally follows. Your thoughts are literally the architects of your world.
All right, let's move to the second key and see how this builds. This verse tackles one of the most destructive human emotions there is, hatred. And the Dhammapada proposes a solution that seems kind of counterintuitive, but it's described here as an eternal law.
And this just nails it, doesn't it? Trying to fight fire with fire, whether that's in a family argument or some online flame war, it just creates a bigger blaze. The only way to truly end a cycle of anger is to meet it with its opposite, with compassion and forgiveness. And that's not about being weak, it's about having the strength to be the one who breaks the cycle.
The third key is all about our relationship with change. The Dhammapada teaches that everything in life, our possessions, our relationships, even our own bodies and our job titles, is temporary. Fighting this fact, clinging to what is destined to change, is a direct path to suffering. Freedom comes from accepting it.
Now for our fourth key, which completely redefines our idea of strength and victory. We often associate power with having control over other people, but this verse flips that idea completely on its head.
This teaches us that the real victory isn't found on some external battlefield, but on an internal one. The greatest challenge and the greatest triumph is mastering our own desires, our fears, and our impulses. That is where real power is.
And finally, the fifth key ties it all together. It's not just about what's going on in your mind, it's about how you act in the world. Living a life that's guided by ethical principles, like generosity and compassion, isn't just about some far-off enlightenment. It's the practical path to everyday peace and harmony.
Okay, so these are powerful ideas for sure, but how do they actually work in our chaotic 21st century lives? Let's connect this ancient wisdom directly to the modern challenges that we all face.
Here's how that ancient wisdom translates into a modern toolkit. For that daily stress of deadlines and notifications, the approach is mindfulness, not trying to silence your thoughts, but just observing them. For conflict and arguments, it's about breaking the cycle with compassion. And for that nagging fear of the future, it's about finding peace by accepting the one thing that's certain, change itself.
If there's one single takeaway from all of this, it's this. Happiness is an inside job. We spend so much time looking for it outside of ourselves, in achievements, in possessions, or in other people. The Dhammapada's timeless reminder is that true, lasting peace can only be cultivated from within. So, where do you begin? This isn't about becoming a monk overnight. It's about taking small, practical steps. Let's look at a simple way to get started.
Here are 4 simple things you can do today. First, just start noticing your thoughts without judging them. Second, look for one small opportunity to practice compassion. Third, consciously decide to let go of one old grudge. Remember, forgiveness heals you. And fourth, just take a moment to truly appreciate right now, because it's all we ever really have.
And don't underestimate the power of these small shifts. They begin to rewire your brain and your perspective. And as we learned from that very first key, when you change your inner world of thoughts and intentions, your experience of the outer world inevitably transforms right along with it.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to carry with you. The Dhammapada places the ultimate power for creating peace and happiness directly in your hands, or maybe more accurately, in your mind. The only question left is, what world will you choose to create today?